Hello and good evening. It is Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021, and we just finished watching the 7th episode of Survivor Season 41. There's going to be blood. I'm Dave Mader. Joined with my brother Jeff Mader.
Dave, I think we need some phaser sweeps and some blood screenings because I think there's been a changeling impersonating me.
Of course, Jeff. Of course. Yes, over calling over from a Live Long and Podcast deep cut from last night. And we got Jaemeel Robinson with us.
Don't look at me. I'm a monster.
Yeah, he went a little heavy on the shaving, perhaps. But let's bring everyone in here. And yes, we're here streaming live on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, or you might be listening to us on the audio version. This was the cliffhanger was confirmed, and yes, Jeff was impersonated last night over on our Star Trek podcast, as he alluded to.
Crack the case.
Crack the case. Oh, I got to turn on the names. So, guys, what did you think of tonight's episode? Was the juice worth the squeeze? Was the cliffhanger of nobody getting voted out last week worth it?
I'm letting Jeff go first because he was very strong. He had strong feelings about it.
I thought this episode was the best of the season, but I have strong feelings about format of this episode, and it's mainly to do with tribal council. I cannot stand the rule that they get up and figure out their shit. The rule should be at tribal council, you sit on your stump and that's that. You have had all day to figure out what you're going to do.
And contingency plans too, right?
Yeah, like literally, I think it's a disservice to the game and to the television, to the audience. Like, Jeff Probst likes it for some reason, but it's old. I'm over it. They should sit on the stump. I'm just tired of it.
Okay, my opinion about it, because I know you're itching. You're ready to go. This was a very enjoyable episode. My issue is people are playing a game where if we're at a point in Survivor where if someone does something, everyone's like, he's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. This is the most amazing play. Not every move that someone does isn't the most amazing. It might be good for the episode in the context of the situation, but let's like rein it in, right? These people aren't guard tier, right? This is not Tony, right? Tony's not in that tribal council, right? There's no top tier players playing right now, right? No. There's some enjoyment that's happening, but let's like rein it in because we're so desperate for Survivor action, right? And that's the only thing I want to say, because I'm reading the reaction online and people like, this is the most brilliant gameplay that I've ever seen. It's like, no.
You're referring to Xander and the switch.
And I guess Evie's role in that too. I guess the whole what Yasi did here against
what did Evie do? Evie did not do anything. There were two people out of that group of four that did something, and that was Xander and Tiffany.
Yeah.
And Tiffany barely did anything. She did one thing.
Which was listen to Xander, which
squeal. She squealed.
And she squealed, yes.
Very quickly.
And Xander made a mistake by squealing too. Like, it worked, but I think it was too cute. I think she was going to play it anyway. And I think that's what saved Deshaun tonight was that whole thing. Like, I think Deshaun figured out you can't trust Tiffany. And he got to get up and switch the whole vote. And that's bullshit. That shouldn't be allowed. That shouldn't be happening on this show. They should have to sit on their stump, and I just don't agree with the way the format of tribal council. Like, it bothers me. I don't.
Jeff, you're a purist.
I just think it does a disservice to the audience. Like, we don't even get to really see what's going on. They have to do subtitles. Like, they have to I just don't like it.
We know that it actually goes on a lot longer, and they cut it down because they can't show everything. Like, tribal council goes on for a long time, and they cut it down to a digestible format. So what you're telling me that people are getting up and talking amongst themselves, that just tells me that more stuff is happening, and now I'm only getting a portion of what's happening. If they decided to release it uncut and I got to see everything, and put mics all over the place, Sure, do what you want to do.
Right.
Well, wait, stop. Dave.
Yes.
Do what you want to do.
Do what you want to do.
I believe it's
Do what you need to do.
Okay. I'm throwing these pitches to you. I'm like underhanding it.
I know. Okay. We're not in Big Brother season, so my mind doesn't always go there.
We're gonna start playing Survivor clips next season. After I think this,
we'll play Survivor clips on Big Brother podcasts and Big Brother clips on Survivor podcasts. That's how it goes. I got to tell you though, I agree with Jeff. I agree with most of what both of you have said. That I don't agree with this format for Tribal Council. I think that the scrambling and whatever isn't for me. Jane, who is my wife, who I was watching this with, she felt otherwise. She was saying, I'm okay with this. I think this is interesting. Otherwise, this would just be happening sort of back at the beach and we would not even see it. So I was like, well, maybe I'm just used to the old Survivor format where there's sort of like the blind side and the audience doesn't know what's happening until the votes are read either. But it was kind of clear to see that it was going to be one of these three tonight, and I thought like the groups being so obvious, it's telling. Is it good television or not? I don't know. I think it's a matter of opinion. For me, no. I think the answer is no, but I think for others it's maybe yes. And I guess who am I to tell them not to like it? So
let's break it down.
I don't think it's about whether liking it or not liking it. It's a matter to me of integrity for like the Tribal Council. Like there's so much, to Jameel's point, there's so much that you don't see that they do on the beach, and they condense that even more because that's hours and hours and hours of daytime where they strategize, and we only see certain things,
right?
And then we get the Tribal Council, and to me Tribal Council is the best part of the show, and the best part about it should be like Sydney probably shouldn't have went home tonight. Like there's a whole bunch of like it probably should have been Deshawn.
No,
like,
it would have been Evie.
It could have been Evie, but
no, I think it would have been Evie completely.
You know what? You're probably right because Xander might have convinced otherwise. Like I thought it was going to be Evie anyway, and but at the same time, like I think maybe she would have been more forceful. Like she kind of, I think once that second round of getting up happened, I think Evie thought, okay, maybe it'll be a split vote and I'll get away with it. And she did. She got lucky. It was a hell of a risk to take.
And the choice, I think also, I was like, I always root for the underdogs, and so I kind of gravitated towards this Evie, Xander and Tiffany sort of coup here against like the majority alliance. I liked that they nearly pulled it off, but then when Evie's like, okay, now you're gonna play the idol, and Xander goes with this gamble of like, no, don't, because Tiffany has the idol. She's been the one asked to hold the idol, and I guess they didn't play the extra vote, or did they play the extra vote tonight?
No extra votes.
They should. I guess they didn't need to, because I guess to lose.
There was Deshawn played an extra vote tonight.
Oh, Deshawn did, no, but like, but Xander has a extra vote here, so they could have played it as well, right? And they could have played it against Deshawn, and maybe Deshawn would have at least tied Sydney, and they could have gone to a tiebreak vote.
I believe
they would still also need Sydney's vote as well.
Yeah, they didn't get. Who did Sydney vote for Evie?
No, Sydney had her roll of dice.
So we don't
she
know.
Lost her voice.
But who would she have voted for? Presumably
Deshawn, of course. She won to survive.
So they could have tied the vote, and then but Sydney still would have went home.
But Sydney could have still thrown a vote on Evie as well.
She could have done that too. Yeah.
So that's why I'm not 100% she would have voted against Deshawn, even though that would have been in her interest, and it would have been Deshawn to go here. And so a lot. This was interesting. I agree. This episode was very entertaining. There was a lot of like twists, all these advantages flying around. Leanna's advantage, and we have these idols, and who has idols, and who's going to take it from who, and who knows what, and who's spilling the beans where. And of course, let's not forget about our own Canadian. We got Erica.
I smashed the hourglass and I changed the course of history.
Purple Erica?
Yeah.
Erica out there on Exile Island. She came to an epiphany. She can survive out there.
Yeah.
She seem so irrelevant once Tribal Council came around? I'm like, you're totally just blended into the background, which I guess is somewhat better than where she was before, where she was a target, but my gosh, did they forget about her?
I think it
Completely.
was smart because if she had not broken the hourglass, I think she probably would have gone home here. I think she would have been the easy vote for like all the people who were safe. They wanted her out anyway. I think it probably would have been her anyway. So I think it was smart. I think she saved herself at least another.
Who did she vote with tonight?
The larger group.
The large group, yeah.
That's a mistake. Why do this whole change the like the course of history and then align yourself with the people you kind of screwed over? Like Deshawn, she's not gonna like endear herself to him anymore.
Why would you not vote with the numbers?
The numbers are very close.
They were very close. That's true. Like you could have
Look, the only reason why the numbers were close is because Sydney went over and Nasir didn't have a clue, right? It's 3 to the rest.
I think if you're Evie, you can pull in. They were trying to pull in Nasir, right? You pull in Sydney. That seemed like it was a possibility, and then Erica, all right, and then that's your new majority alliance. Like the numbers here are very close.
Who did Nasir vote for tonight? Was it Sid or Evie?
1 to 2.
think-
Yeah.
I think he voted. He voted but they almost had him for a bit. They're like, "Hey, are you with us?" And then they were like, "No, Nasir, you come over here with us." Like Danny called him over. I think.
Also, by the way, like I know, like we've made a deal about this, but like, did you notice when that happened? There was it was all the white people and all the people of color except Heather were in the two.
Who?
No,
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
wrong.
Who?
You're wrong. You're wrong.
I am.
Ricard.
Oh, it was Ricard. Well, yeah, he's a white guy too, I guess. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it was kind of jarring to see, especially
He's Hispanic.
Oh, right. So person of color, or he's on that blurry. He's on that blurry line. Yeah. So
That's not what people on Twitter think.
They think he's a white guy.
Like, aren't they teaming up with all the black people?
Well, no, it was also Erica. She's a person of color.
I know, but like,
right?
They were just using Erica.
The concept was that all the black people are teaming up. Ricard looked like he was pretty comfortable with that other group.
Yeah.
Right? They really
He's with Shane.
like.
Well, he's tight with Shan already, and like that's the only person from his old tribe that's here anyway. And well, he doesn't seem willing to work with Evie.
I just guys, like, isn't it crazy that Danny was eligible to be voted out here and nobody really even threw his name around, and he was super nervous. Like, and this guy's the most like he's the typical merge boot, and he was like there wasn't even a whisper of his name. You know,
We competed, and there was a winner, there was a loser.
Yeah. Yeah, like they just sized him up and they're like, oh, we can control him, you know. So like, you know, I think he's just not a good savvy social player. That's why
I think people are going to take him to the end because, like, even with these subtle hints, if you didn't know he played professional sports, you do know now. You know now. He already has the money. Like, I don't know why. Like,
but he's saying, "Oh, I only played college ball. I didn't make any money. I didn't make it to the pros."
Please. So what tells me that they played college ball? I'm like, either you suck and that's your own fault. 2, you did make money and you just didn't make it to the professionals, but you probably took like a little scratch on the side, if you know what I mean. Or 3, you're lying to me and you actually did professional sports, even if it was for 1 year. So that means you've made more money than I've made in my entire life. So therefore, you're the perfect patsy. You're taking me to the end. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. I don't know what the percentages are of how many college players make it to the pros or at least get drafted and then get some money or whatever. But
Dave, when you look at him, does he look like he only played college?
No.
He looks like he worked out every day.
Yes,
he looks like he's been going pretty hard for a long time.
Okay, thank you. I'm not insane.
Like he's like a bodybuilder type. He looks like he's a professional wrestler or a professional athlete or both.
He can find a second career. I'm like, hey, if you're not in some kind of arena league, you know, making $40,000 on the side, you know, on the weekends, you know, that's your fault. Because it looks like you have all the tools to do so. That means to me that you don't want to make money. So therefore, that's another reason why I should get this money because I need it. You don't because you don't want money.
There you go. Yeah, but I agree with Jeff, like that it is surprising in some ways that players like Danny are not getting talked about when he was only one of 5 people vulnerable here, right? Or 5 or 6, right, tonight, and he wasn't talked about at all. And I think this is a trend we're seeing in Big Brother as well, where like sort of the alpha player, like sort of this like the strongest competitor type player, a Jackson Mickey or a Cody Calafiore, or more recently maybe like not Jedson, maybe Tashawn, and certain players that who are considered to be like the best competitor in their season.
Mhm.
Right, like who in the most recent? Oh, and Xander, right? I guess with Xander's and these kind of and like Buddy there, who insulted Kobe. You know who I'm talking about
Ty, no,
from the Cookout, Kylan.
Kylan,
Ty
Kylan.
Yeah, like even though like these super strong competitor types, when you get to this individual part of the game, it should be like we should want to get them out because they're most likely to win immunity. At this point, we don't have to think like tribe strong anymore and winning like immunity challenges. We need to get these players out. Speaking of which, what about that like whole immunity challenge tonight? So after Erica smashes the changed history, and did you guys like we've seen this competition before on like the little Lazy Susan where you got to like stack things with your feet and then put the flag in the little pin.
Yeah,
Aren't you thankful? Aren't you thankful that they switched the groups up? Because I swear to you, if we were watching Leanna, Cheyenne, Heather, who else?
Tiffany,
Erica, and Tiffany do this competition, I think it would have taken like 3-4 hours. Unless Leanna like just smoked everyone. Because I do not see how Heather and Tiffany are getting past the first row. I can't.
It would have been super interesting had Sid pulled it out here. It kind of sucked that she lost at the last second here to Ricard. I would love to have seen her get the immunity because then the tribal would have been even more fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
This was really fun to watch at this competition. How close it came right down to the wire. Evie was in the lead for a lot of it, and then Sydney and Evie were going back and forth, and then Rickard kind of was holding pace, and he kind of comes out of nowhere and wins this thing. And I think it seemed like Nasir and Danny and Deshaun, they were struggling a bit more, although Deshaun maybe the best of those three. But I thought it was fun to watch, and like just the bitterness with players, like especially we find out like later with Danny, he's so bitter, as he was alluding to.
This could make my game or break my game, but
Erica.
at least I'm playing for me.
Sorry, Eric, I wasn't actually meaning to ask you.
Are you?
Sure you are. Sure you
Are
are.
you playing for you? I think you're playing for Probst.
Yeah, you're playing for what Jeff wants you to do on TV.
Yeah, like I mean, she really is like why Deshaun is threatened by her makes zero sense to me. It was kind of nice to see, like, even though I have Deshaun in the draft, it was nice to see Deshaun squirm in this episode because everything has been going his way and he's been kind of controlling like his tribe and his game. And now he found out quick that it's not as easy as it looks.
But
the first time he's vulnerable.
He took it pretty cool though. I did appreciate that.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he could have panicked more for sure.
Yeah, where you see other people like, man, did Sydney fold quick? Sydney folded so quick. Like she didn't even wait. Her name wasn't even out there, and she kind of put her name in the conversation when she grouped up with the other side.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It was almost Sydney is, of course, the threat of threats, as you will.
She's the best looking and smartest person.
I am like the threat of threats.
She was.
She's got an ego on her, that girl. But it's so silly that you can't just help but laugh at her. It's not overly threatening, but it's kind of you're like, oh, you like that's how I kind of treat her. But I don't get, again, like, I think she was just on the outs here with that original tribe, much like Erica. And she just took Erica took her spot. It seemed like that's what happened tonight.
Because they couldn't vote out Erica. So they're like, we'll replace Sydney with Erica.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to me.
And she'll be like this clueless player will control and we'll tell her what to do. Probably better than Sydney.
Yeah, pretty much. And maybe Erica will be a little bit smarter than that, but we'll see. Like, I don't there's so many players, like I just don't know where their heads are at strategically. Like we literally get, it's the Shan show, and tonight was the Leanna show a little bit too as well. And they really focus on like certain players and certain narratives, and they just ignore a whole bunch of other players, and I find that very interesting this season.
Yeah.
Dave, do you think I should pull it out now?
Pull it out.
Okay. Pull it out?
Pull it out.
Okay. So we were talking previous episode about what's called in confessionals, and wanting to see a breakdown of who got what confessionals. Well,
Shan's at the top, right? And Evie.
Here's the breakdown so far for this season, including tonight's episode.
Okay, here I'm just gonna make you a little bit larger here.
Total. I want to see total. Shan's got the most. Okay, that's not surprising. And then Evie is next. Yep, I'm right about that. And then next would be Liana. Yeah, and then Deshawn. They're tied. And then we have Xander. And then we have Tiffany. And then we have Danny and Sydney were tied.
Look how much JD had.
JD had 22.
22, but he was only okay. But like okay, Heather has had 2. Okay, like that is less than Brad. That's less than JD for sure. Like most of these players.
Look at Nasir. I mean, he's a great character. And
only Abraham. Abraham is tied with Heather. Abraham was voted out was the first voted out. Jeff.
Sarah doubled her, and I don't even remember Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah was yours, right, in the draft, or no, that was Jane's. She was Jane, I think. But yeah.
What is going on? Like this is crazy. Like
this year has the same amount as Erica.
Is Shan winning this game, or is she just the most interesting character?
Shan is who you were talking about, Brenda and
yeah.
Shan
Brenda.
No, I think she's the other way. It's the other way around. I think.
What do you mean?
It was Brenda, and who was the other guy? Sash. She's Sash.
She's Sash, and then Ricard is Brenda.
I think so.
Yeah, that's about right. And yeah, like it really is such a comparable season to Nicaragua. I mean, like Xander is the perfect Fabio. There's so many comparables here. There's literally purple Heather.
Blue Heather.
Yeah, blue Heather in this case. We have purple Erica. Like, she's kind of the Nyanka. I won't be surprised if he quits. Like I won't be surprised if we get a quit.
This is telling though. Does this give you guys indications of who is potentially going to go deep in this game? Because you look at JD with 22 confessionals, even though he's been gone for like 3 episodes, it feels like. Does that mean that? I guess it's not an indicator they'll go deep into the game necessarily.
Yeah,
but
I thought Evie was a shoo-in to make top 3, and she may still. But I thought she was going home tonight, as well.
But like Nasir's only had 8.
And I don't think Nasir's going far. Like he's such a good character, and they're barely showing him.
Yeah,
right. So I don't feel like we're telling Nasir's story this season necessarily, right?
Can we talk a little bit about Liana? Because she had 6 confessionals tonight, and she was like basically narrating the whole episode tonight. Look, Shan had 0 tonight. I think Liana, she lost her advantage tonight. Xander and Evie played the old switcheroo on her, which was pretty great. And to watch her eat crow after it didn't work was fantastic. It was a great Schadenfreude moment for me. Because I love when that kind of stuff happens, when the majority alliance doesn't get what they want, especially when it blows up in their face. And tonight it reminded me a little bit of Big Brother, when you like go to make a play and it doesn't work. I don't want to see Liana and Shan do well. I don't like them. I think they're kind of like, I just don't like them as players. They're not rootable,
but at the same time, Evie and Xander being paired up with Tiffany, I don't wish success for Tiffany either. Right, I don't like her.
Agree. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I really like Nasir. I do like Evie. I didn't like up until this episode. I'm going for Evie now. Like it wasn't until this episode where I was like, okay, I see the player that she is, and I wanted to see her kind of on the being like an underdog, like Dave was saying. So I'm kind of going for her. Deshawn, I feel like I could turn on. Like I could right now. I'm not on his side, but I think I could be in a couple of episodes.
You could be swayed back to cheering for Deshawn. Yeah, like I agree. I think that he's an interesting social player. I think that more so he's more interesting to me than Danny is. But I think that their partnership's kind of it seems to be driving a lot of things at the moment, at least. Evie, I think, she's a dynamic player in this mix. Like, I just like, the fact that Heather was instantly safe here. That was the worst part about Erica turning back time, because and I heard in the preview for next week, Heather's name was dropped in the trailer. So I was like, oh, please. Because I just want to see these weak players like Heather and Jeannie, as much as Jeannie was too, like sort of like these irrelevant players who are just kind of holding things up. And of the 6 or 5 or 6 who were like vulnerable tonight, I was like, I don't want to see any of these people go. I don't want to see Evie go. I don't want to see Sydney go yet. I don't. Danny.
Well,
Deshaun.
I wanted Sydney gone.
You wanted Sydney gone? Why?
The threat of threats and her huge ass ego with nothing gameplay to back it up.
Sure, that's
She
fun.
was just as irrelevant as Heather. She has done nothing.
She entertains the hell out of me in confessionals. That she does something, and Heather does not even do that.
Heather has no confessionals to prove otherwise.
She's got one in the first episode and one where she was like, I couldn't get a basketball up in the air.
The Blue Tribe is tough because they haven't gone to tribal, so there's nothing for them to have done, And so, like, I kind of give them a pass, pretty much everybody on that tribe, but at the same time, like, now the game has started. Sydney, I thought, like, she did her shot in the dark tonight. There were some things with her where I kind of went, eh.
I don't think she's a great player, but she was more, I'd rather have her on the show than Heather.
No.
Yeah, me too. But,
gone.
Yeah, I'd rather Heather have gone first, if that makes you feel better.
Sydney is not high on my rankings, but she's above some players, and like Heather,
I think she's bringing more to the show than Erica is.
Okay.
I mean,
and Erica too. Yeah,
I'm gonna bring down this
Yeah.
thing. Thank you once again at Just Strategic, JU Strategic. Great job, thank you.
Yeah, it's dedication to be counting the confessionals every episode, and then doing averages. That's almost something I would do. But I don't have time to do that in the sense. Like I thought that there's definitely I like this cast. I think that it's fun. And I like the scrambling and I like all the strategy and sort of the backstabbing. I thought tonight, like where Evie, called out Leanna at the tribal, because she said,
and Deshaun in turn called out Evie as well. And I was like, yes, thank you for putting that little nugget there. That's great. That's future planning, because Deshaun could have a conversation with Xander. It's like, look, bro, we need to pair up because you see these people, they're playing us as chess pieces. We need to take control of this game. I never lied to you. I told you straight up what Evie did. Right? I've been loyal to the people I have, and I see that you're a loyal person. Like that's groundwork that can be done, right? And Evie has to talk back a lot of things, right? So I think that was a great move there. That you took that opportunity to kind of take an advantage where Leanna had to eat crow, and then also made Evie look kind of bad too at the same time.
Yeah, I thought so too. That was smart by Deshaun. It was interesting that we thought that that those two might have a connection going into this merged tribe. It ends up actually being they end up at odds with each other. In fact, interesting now they went through that in part 1 of like last week's episode where they all had to come together and win that competition together and push that ball down the thing, and now they're all enemies with each other this week. So that's kind of interesting, because of what Erica's choice that she was given. But that's the whole thing with Erica that I'm frustrated with, is that if you're going to make that choice, Erica, and you're going to do that, I think people are going to remember that, hey, you were against me. Like Deshaun was already against you. Most of those people were already against Erica. She doesn't know it, or she's not aware of it. But she's then for her to vote with them tonight, it's just like, Erica,
it's how you present the message, though, because so what? She should not smash the thing. And
she should smash it.
But I'm like saying, for her to be safe, she would have to smash it. So she smashed it.
Yeah,
that's not. She did the right thing. But then she aligned with the wrong side.
See, okay.
No, you're thinking that she aligned with the wrong side. There's only one side, the side that she chooses, not like anything. She doesn't even know what Deshaun said about her. She never knew that she was on the far end. So why would she vote against the majority of her alliance?
She has no alliance.
There are two schools of thought here, I think, in my opinion. she could go, like you're saying, Jaemeel and Dave, with the majority alliance, which is the powerful alliance right now, which was the Liana, Shan, Danny. They had more numbers, and she can go with them and play the game that she plays, which is hide, and or she could do what Dave is suggesting and go put her neck on the line, which her neck was already on the line, but she doesn't really know that. But at the same time, she should have an inkling.
She had 2 days on that island to think about. Okay, at least one day to think about. Once I smash this thing, how am I going to play it? What are the ramifications? After she does it, they go to Deshaun. What do you think? Well, it was season 41. I guess it's like a Big Brother season now, even though it doesn't say like expect the unexpected. And he's like, don't you say that? Not on this show. Cut that out. Re-say it, Deshaun. And he's like, anything you said, it's a new era, Jeff. And so, but then obviously Danny being all bitter about it later on.
We competed, and there was a winner, there was a loser, and the prize was what?
Feast and immunity.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Yeah, he was pissed, and so I think like anticipating that reaction is what Erica's not doing well here as a Survivor player. That's all.
That would be like Dave, from his point of view, he's playing for the Chicago Bears. They beat the Green Bay Packers for the first time in ever. And then, Roger Goodell comes down and goes, actually, we're turning back time. And you're going to play this game again. Actually, not even that. The Packers win. They're going to the AFC Championship. See you later, Bears. You don't make any money. Or something like that.
Well, there was a lot made of the fact that the teams in that competition last week were not fair. Like, they drew rocks.
Survivor didn't care.
Huh?
That's ultimately the situation. Yeah. He's wrong because he thinks that it's supposed to be one way, right, and that there's no take backs. Survivor isn't fair. People were complaining that the teams were uneven. Sorry, Survivor is not fair. That's why this is ultimately why I had an issue with the whole Cookout Alliance and they're just gonna dominate the game. Survivor is not built that way, right?
No.
You can think you have all the power in the world, and all it took. Look, barely only one immunity idol was possibly played, right? Could have been possibly played, and look how much chaos it created. That they almost lost. They almost screwed up, right?
Yeah. It's so true.
This is why it's different than Big Brother, and why and we can see in advance by watching it that there isn't a 4-person alliance. It's 2 pairs. It's Deshaun and Danny, and it's Shan and Leanne, right? Yeah. And they're just together because it's convenient. And the moment that situation comes, this is where a person like Erica is going to come in, and she'll be the 3rd swing vote that they're going to use to vote out Danny.
Or vote out Shan or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And
or
that's
Rickard.
what I love. That's what I love about Survivor so much more, is that there is those swings. There is that unease of the players. Big Brother, they literally they're like, oh, we got this locked down. We're an 8-person alliance or whatever, and we're good until week 7.
Let's vote with the house.
Yeah, and
it's what the house wants. It's what the house wants.
Right. So Big Brother's got to fix their format a little bit. I think they need a reset. I don't know if Survivor needed it as much, but it's the TV show. It's not even the game. It's the TV show, guys, that is really, really drastically different. Like tonight, with the whole thing with the switcheroo, where I saw it coming. And I knew it was possible, but they did edit it very cleverly, and I was excited when they did it. But at the same time, should they be letting the audience know that's coming, or is it better to do it the way they're doing it now, where it's like a surprise and they hit you with it at the last second?
Was it a surprise that Tiffany had it?
I said to Amanda before it ever happened, I was like, if they're smart, they give it to Tiffany.
Yeah,
And
I'm like, he's showing that idol way too much. He's pulling what's it called again, Bill and Gabon. I think it's Bill was his name, who won that season, right? He's showing off that fake community idol, and people are gonna eat it up. He's not gonna give it to Evie because that would be the next logical person to give it, right? Tiffany's untrustworthy. They gave it to Tiffany, right? You know what? Honestly, she shouldn't have used her advantage.
Bob Crowley, you're thinking of.
Bob Crowley. Sorry, Bob Crowley.
What advantage? Leanna's advantage.
Was it
going to expire after tonight?
No.
Oh, okay. So, but it was almost like because Tiffany found out about it and then she blabbed it. So I feel like Leanna felt like, well, I need to kind of get rid of this now, or I need to play it sooner than later.
So this is my issue, right? We're talking about manipulating the rules to suit your benefit. Why couldn't she give her advantage to Sham, right? And then go and ask the question, right, to Xander.
Because if Leanna had given her power to Shan, then Shan would have completed the advantage infinity gauntlet, right? And she would have snapped away half of the tribe, right? Like it would have been it. She would have had the extra vote. She would have had the steal a vote or whatever the heck she has, and her immunity idol. It would be too much power. Shan would just her mind would burst with the power.
If that happened, if like Shan had like 4 advantages, I think Jeff would come in with like the complete reset. He'd be, like
it's too much power. But everyone, it's the same. It would be taking the understanding or the conception of everyone knows what you're gonna do, and now I can plan to use that knowledge against you. Xander used it because he knew Leanne was so desperately fishing to find out where the idol was.
Yeah.
Right. And so he made a show just like a magician, right, to show exactly what you want to see. And then when you went and asked for it, oh, it's not there, right?
And she fell for it like hook, line, and sinker.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, that was you're right, Jaemeel. It was super obvious. Like, how did Shan not say to her, like, "Hey, maybe he's bluffing"? Like, how did nobody say that to Leanne?
It seemed like Shan was also underestimating how smart Evie was, though. Like, I'm not saying that this was the most brilliant move ever. I just think that it was smart. Okay, like Shan has this advantage. She's probably going to try to take it after Xander because that's maybe the obvious thing here to make sure, and he was like, I'm going to play it on Evie, everybody. Hey, Danny, guess what my plan is tonight? I'm going to play my idol on Evie. Do you want to know that? Just so, hey, guys, everyone, look, I'm putting it in my pants. You want to see me put this in my pants? And then, like,
I think Evie said that to him on purpose. Like, do that. Because I think that was, like, they literally view him like Fabio. Like same as Nicaragua. Like, he's so dumb, he would do this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of those sharks that you can see my fin. I'm up at the top of the water. She's lurking down below.
So I just feel like if Leanne gave her advantage to Shan or even someone else, right? She still reads her advantage, even though technically it isn't hers anymore, right? And she asked Xander a question. Xander would think, oh, I have to tell the truth. Right? And then she would know ahead of time that he doesn't have it. Right? And then
back up. How would she know he doesn't have it at that point?
Because he wouldn't lie. Why would he lie?
But it doesn't. Okay, yeah, but then she's used it, right? She can only ask the question once.
No, she doesn't have it.
What?
She doesn't have the advantage, but she would still ask the question.
She could have given that advantage to Shan.
Okay, so you're saying she just asks a question.
Yeah.
And so just this knowledge that she has this power, it's not like the producers or probes or anybody saying, actually you are required by the game rules to answer. He might just blurt it out because he thinks that's the case. And he's
seen the advantage and he's got confirmation of it.
No, he knows it exists. He knows Leanna has it, and he knows that she has this power. But doesn't she have to?
Dirty. That would have been a dirty play.
But it's not that before Jeff says if you have an advantage, now is the time to use it, right, or whatever. Isn't that like the?
I still don't think that would have worked because like even Shan was like Evie has it, and then they would have tried it from Evie, and then it still wouldn't have worked. Right.
Listen, just listen to that clip.
So I just have one question for one player. Do you have an idol, Xander?
No, but you can have this fake.
I love that. That was my favorite moment. I loved it so much. I was so happy. I was just like, good. I because it's mainly not because I don't like Leanna all that much. It's the advantage I thought was complete bullshit. I hated that advantage. It's too much power, and I don't like it. I don't like being able to steal advantages.
But I like the chess match here of like playing the advantages against each other and trying to, I guess, especially against like a former tribe mate in Leanna against her former Yassi tribe here.
Yeah, I did love Evie's reaction. That was great.
Did you like Tiffany's reaction where she's like, we like to keep with our own, and she's like rolling her eyes.
Yeah.
Tiffany's the most untrustworthy person in this game.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
No, for sure.
her talking about like trust and stuff.
Although she was actually pretty cool about like when they had that whole exchange where like to play the idol, she was like, "It's your idol, you decide." Like that's a loyal move.
To Xander, so she was showing loyalty to Xander over Evie there.
But she was right. It was his idol. It's like should be kind of his choice.
Well, I think she could have tried to help at least sway Xander, and she didn't want to.
Why would you want to sway him either way? Let all the blood be on his hands.
I think they should have played it on Evie, even though, ultimately they didn't have to. But it was razor thin, this vote. So Evie.
I'm glad they didn't. I think it was the right move. Obviously, that they didn't.
It was a gamble. It paid off, but it could have been Evie whose torch got snuffed here.
It was the right move for Xander. It was the right move for Xander, regardless of what happens. If Evie was gone,
he needs Evie he needs her in this game. He can't afford to lose her because if this doesn't work,
the numbers like they're gonna get pagonged. If it's not like
this minority alliance, which is what, right? Because Sydney wasn't really in their alliance, so it's just the three of them. They're just a trio.
I think like right now, yeah, it's the three of them. Plus, they might be able to get like a Heather, and they might be able to get an Erica
and then Nasir.
And those are the only options.
The white people,
all the white people.
Nasir's
not except Ricard.
Nasir.
And Nasir.
He's like, I'm mixed.
I'm mixed. Nasir also, he's a foreigner, so I do think like that it kind of others him from the people of color. I really do think in that in a way, because the people of color are kind of banding together here at a convenience. It's just working out.
It's just like-minded people too. It just turns out that the more of the gamer strategists, maybe aside from Evie, are all like minorities. So it's just working out that way, and so they're like, okay, great, we'll stick together. Or it might just be the optics of it. But I think that these players like Rickard and these players would work together regardless, because they're just they think the same way.
I don't think Danny will stick with them long term. I don't think I could see Deshaun turning on that as well. I could see Nasir definitely. I don't think will stay with them.
I think Shan and Leanna will be tight. I think that's the only two you'll see be kind of loyal to the end.
Shan, Leanna, and Ricard is going to be a thing, I think.
And but we have all these these seeds. So Rickard doesn't really trust Leanna from some of the stuff over on UA, and guys, now with tonight with Leanna, Sydney getting voted out tonight. This is day 14. This is only going to day 26. So we are past the halfway point. There's only 12 days left. And we have
people are going to leave, aren't they?
We have 11 people left in the game, right?
Dave, did you not, when Exile Island and all that rain came down, you're like, is she going to quit? Is this where? Remember we talked about it last week, where I'm like expecting that chainsaw to cut that person's arm off, and I'm like, is she going to quit? She's going to say she broke the hourglass, but she can't take another rain like that.
I wasn't expecting her to quit, but what this did kind of confirm for me tonight, where and Sydney says she's not going to jury, so we are getting final 2, not a final 3, right? Because the jury is going to be a jury of 9, and because we have 11 people left now.
Could it be a jury of 7?
Potentially, that we would find out that whoever gets voted out next, and if they're not saying that they're the first member of the jury, then yes, it would be a jury of 7.
I say that because of the rumors that people quit the game, and if they quit, they're not going to be a part of the jury.
There's only 12 days. They're past the halfway point. I don't know why anyone would quit at this point.
Who's quitting? Okay, I number one culprit, Heather. They're not showing her on the show, and Jeff Probst hates quitters, and he will not this is so Nicaragua this season. It's painful, Dave, how Nicaragua this season is, because they had 2 quitters back to back in that season. Same trouble happened because it was raining so hard, and it was in Panama, so it was a different location. But and it is way colder there in Panama than it is in Fiji, right. But here we have I think you just have to look at the like the confessionals 2.
Yeah,
and
I can
and
buy
it-
that. Heather's gonna quit, and that's why she's getting buried in the edit. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that makes it. Well, then there's an issue. Then wouldn't that mean that there's 8 people on the jury then, and then
Unless
2
it's the final 3.
Yeah,
That could be the. Yeah.
I'm just
And
saying.
that would bum me out because that would mean that they were planning to do a final 2, but maybe Heather quitting forced them to do a final 3 with a smaller jury or something like that instead. Assuming that's what's going to happen if we're Nostradamus about this and our prediction is true. But it seems very plausible.
Listen, okay, I have this from Heather's bio. Just listen to this. Why do you believe you can win Survivor? She says, I'm sharp, observant. I like OCD observant. I'm surprisingly very strong and have a ridiculous high threshold for pain. I'm resilient. I'm daring but careful. I build strong relationships. I'm likable and entertaining. I listen and learn. I will be the person who remembers where everyone is from and what they love on their pizza. I'll know their stories, the kids, the pets. I may not like them all, but I have the ability to convince them all that I do. I'll make people smile when they need to. I hope to make all feel included and important.
Yeah, she's gone.
She's quitting.
It sounds like she's quitting, just in the sense that it is nothing what we're seeing here, and there's only 2 reasons why that we're not seeing it. One is because she never did it, or 2, she did it and she's so unlike. They're like, edit this woman out of this game.
And what was the one thing they showed of her? You did the one thing you didn't give up. Like that was the one thing with the whole challenge. You didn't give up. And like they go to Danny's like, yeah, you never quit. You never give up. And it's like she's just crying and she's just like, oh, and it's just like, yeah, like she's quit.
They're like, she's gonna really cry when she watches this back and she remembers she did quit.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's happening. So I think she's definitely quitting from Reign.
Oh, that's hilarious. It's so plausible and so funny. I hope that comes true. Even if it does, yeah, but like that was the point. There's like the jury so kind of would be presumably starting at this merge stage. Usually, that's kind of normally when they would kick it off.
I like that first boot not being part of the jury. I'm sorry, you made it this far, but you didn't make it far enough.
I'm okay with Sydney not being a jury member, but I think now it's the time to start the jury.
Yeah.
Like. Is it final 2, final 3? I want it to be final 2. I hope it is.
Me too. I hope it's final 2, but like Jameel's saying, there could be some quits in here. Or it could be a jury of 7. It's not for sure.
I just heard the rumor that there's a quitter, so I'm just assuming.
2 quitters. I heard the rumor I heard was 2 quitters.
If it's 2 quitters, this is Nicaragua 2.0. It literally is.
If it's 2 quitters, then we're gonna get a final 2 with 7-person jury.
Well, Nicaragua was a final 3, was it not? It was Fabio, Sasha, and Chase.
What number was it?
21.
How many?
Probably.
But how many people were in the jury?
That's a good question. We should look at that.
Anyway, so I just to while Jeff's looking that up, I just wanted to we talked about the tribal and the chaos of tribal, and I just kind of want to quickly update our draft doc for a moment, and eulogize here Sydney, who was voted out 7th, day 14. Let's hear what she had to say.
The worst case scenario happened. Had I not played the shot in the dark, things have gone differently, but it shows me my instinct was right. I'm like relieved I'm not on the jury, so I don't have to see their faces ever again. And I'm just glad I'm me, because whatever I have outside of this game is 500 gajillion times better. So that makes me feel good, even if it's super immature.
500 gajillion. Jeez.
Super immature. And
I'm savvy as hell. I'm good looking. I'm a physical threat.
Yeah, we're gonna cross Sydney off of our list here as Sean, who had her. He lost Abraham in the first episode, so he's out of this draft. He won't be winning this.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer person. In terms
to
of
Sean?
Sydney. No, to Sydney.
Oh.
Yeah, Amanda was rolling her eyes at her a lot. She was just like,
I get it, but she's one of these these people who are so full of themselves. They're almost like cartoons. I enjoy them as TV characters.
The only disappointing thing is that she didn't have more egg in her face when she got. I know it's kind of bad, but I kind of wanted like her nose to be rubbed in the dirt a little bit before her on the way out. Same thing with Sham. I want Sham to get her nose rubbed into the dirt before she leaves. Right?
Yeah.
Right? There's just people who just genuinely want to see them get embarrassed or
they're playing with so much like hubris. It's kind of obnoxious. Like so, just to update our draft, we saw Heather was like the last in our draft too. Like if she, and that's Jaemeel. You
She's
technically
still in
have her. You were kind of saddled with her, but Danny, Xander, and Rickard for Daryl. He's looking pretty good in this draft with those picks.
It's just like Big Brother, Jaemeel. You have Heather, just like you had what's her name for that finished second. Like imagine Heather finishes second or third, which I wouldn't be surprised. But
yeah, there was that one year you picked like you had 3 people in the draft and you picked the top 3, and then you only have Heather left. Oh no.
You laugh at me.
Do what
Oh,
you
man.
need to do.
Oh,
Do what you need to do.
I had Ozza and Big Brother too, so Ozza.
Jen looking okay with Tiffany and Leanne, I guess. Not Tiffany, maybe. I don't think just Tiffany winning this game.
No, she's absolutely unlikely.
I think it's honestly it's between Shan and Evie.
Really?
Shan, Evie, and Deshaun.
Or Xander. Or if Xander gets to the end,
Xander gets to the end, he's gonna win. He's gonna be, and if he wins this game, it literally is.
He's got they were like, I'm surprised they didn't stand up and give him a standing ovation for his move, right? Because they were just giving him compliments already, and I'm like, it wasn't that.
He's a shark, man.
I'm one of those sharks that you can see my fin.
I don't think it was just him. I think it was more of a bonehead move on Leanna's part than it was.
Leanna didn't read it right. She got duped.
Yeah,
she got duped hard, and it really showed her cards. And so I'm glad that happened though. I was really.
But she's shown an immense amount of loyalty to that other side now that she's joined with. So she's made her bed. She can't go back to the Yossi group, but why would she? They're in the minority. So she's done there. Do you guys think I'm going to win this draft, Shannon, this year? Do you think I can win with either of those? No?
I think Shan can win the game. I hope she doesn't.
I don't want Dave winning. Sorry.
So Jaemeel, you think Jeff's got a better chance of winning with Erica and Deshaun?
Yes, I don't want you to win.
Okay. Why? Why? Because I won last one?
Because you're the Sid of the Survivor draft.
I'm the Sid? I'm the threat of threats?
You're the threat of threats.
Okay. Well, of course I am.
I am like the threat of threats.
So anyway, just to bring that down and update. Yeah. So I assume jury starts next. I just want Nasir to stick around for a while, but if he's gonna stick around, I need more. I need more like confessionals.
And I love the color.
Whoops.
The good news is I get Ponderosa soon.
So here we have Survivor Nicaragua.
Oh yeah, Ponderosa.
It was a 9-person jury with a final 3, so that's 12. Isn't that where we're at now?
No, we were at 12. Now we're at 11. So
it's gonna probably be a final 2.
Or that was the intent, maybe, and they had to pivot though and change the plan if the numbers don't work out.
Okay, so you were talking about quitters. Both Nayanka and Kelly quit the day after they voted out Brenda, and then they were still jury members.
They still allowed them to be jury, even though they quit?
It was in the contract at the time, and I believe, and then Jeff was very pissed off about that. And then I think they changed the rules that if you quit, you're done. But
did they get a Ponderosa? They didn't get a Ponderosa, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think they got a Ponderosa. But
what year was this season?
This is the year after Heroes Villains.
So this is like 2010?
Yeah, let's see when it aired. Yep, June 14th. That's when they filmed and it aired
11 years
September.
ago.
Yeah. Yeah, just like the Blackhawks scandal 11 years ago. This aired around the same time.
At the same time they were winning the Stanley Cup while there was sexual abuse going on
right
in the Chicago Blackhawks organization. Yeah.
But anyway, if you look at this tribe, the final 3 here: Sash, Chase, Fabio. It'd be like if
Rickard is your Sash, right?
But Jaemeel saying it's maybe more Shan, which is appropriate. Chase, I'd say the closest to him would probably be Danny, or I would say Danny, and then Fabio would be Xander. So it'd be like Rickard, Danny, Xander.
Who were the
You
three
know,
like in the original in the very first episode? I'm trying to remember. It was Danny, Xander, and who had the original summit out on like the big hill climb. It was I remember that. Who was the third? It would have been from. It was Brad, right? Or
yeah.
who from
was
the
it Brad?
Green Tribe was it? I'm trying to.
I believe it. Or no, it was JD. It was JD.
It was JD. Okay, so he's gone. So, but maybe you can kind of because hey, Xander and Danny climbed the mountain on day 2, along with JD, who didn't make it very far. He was blindsided.
Yeah, and like the whole like racial element too that we were talking about earlier. I mean, Shannon didn't care about that when she voted out JD. They kept Jeannie instead of JD.
No, I think that it's sometimes I think these things like women's alliance, persons of color. I think it's just convenience, like a lot of the times too, right?
It's just a narrative. It's just a narrative
something to say. Okay, we're sticking together, right? And if you can get people hoping that motivation will. You can believe in that motivation for them, so therefore.
But there are certain things where that's okay to do with, like girls. Like if you go, all boys stick together. I mean, it does happen, but it's not.
It does.
But you
wouldn't see like only white men stay together,
right? Or even just men in general. You're never a hero for doing that. But you're a hero if you're doing the girls alliance.
It's considered bullyish, because you're but because girls and women are looked at as sort of more from an underdog standpoint because by themselves often, and so it's just like with Danny, like we look at him and go, that guy doesn't need any sympathy. He doesn't need any he's definitely not the underdog, right? Socially and physically. And he's like I said, like a Cody Calafiore type, like someone who's just going to be always the alpha in the tribe, not in the house, as it is or on the beach.
But Cody's a good game player. Like this Danny is kind of like, I don't think he knows what show he's playing. Like I think he's, I think he's kind of out to lunch when it comes to the gameplay of this show.
Maybe he thinks it's a physical he thinks it's a competition, right? And the rules are pretty straightforward, and he can't pivot. He can't.
He's like the guy in Squid Game in the first game that ran really fast and red light, green light, and then gets shot in the head right away.
He's that guy?
He's that guy. Yeah.
Oh. What position did Danny play? Like safety?
Yeah.
Free safety?
Yeah. Free safety.
I don't think Bianca thing got a Ponderosa. I'm looking it up.
Purple Kelly.
I'm seeing David, Julie, Steve, Ralph. Jury 5, 6, and 7. Were they the 5th, 6th, and 7th voted out? Like the 5th and 6th. Who was voted out after Ralph in Nicaragua?
Oh, after Ralph.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I think.
Here's a question. Okay, the fact that there's only 12 days left here, right? They're past the halfway point, but they haven't even voted out half the contestants yet. So like, is this gonna really like pick up like a pace here, like we've never seen? Like some
2 people are gonna be gone, and then 2 people are making it to the finals. So 8 days or 10 days, right? 10 days left, or is it 14? How many days are left?
There's only 12 days left.
And 8 people makes sense.
There's 11 people left though right now.
So okay, so
but 8 vote outs presumably, right?
Yeah, 2 gone, 2 as the final, and then the rest. So does that not leave 7?
Yeah, they basically have to vote out somebody every day, or at least every other day.
No.
Okay, so there was no Ralph that played on that season. I don't know who you're referring to.
Jeff, what are your thoughts about
I'm
like
wrong. Sorry.
How fast these tribal councils and these vote outs are going to happen now that because this was kind of your most skeptical thing coming into the season, that it wasn't 39 days, it was 26 days, and tomorrow is day 15 when we pick this up next Wednesday.
As a TV viewer, I think it's fine because they're not giving them food. You know, but at the same time, it's been 2 weeks. Like I could go 2 weeks with little food, but once it gets into like day one, don't you know, like it'll probably be pretty good. But at the same time, like I just wish it was like 30 days. 30 days is a better number for me. Like I just think 26 is a little too short. But
but we'll have to see though. Like I don't know if I would necessarily say that, because I think like maybe when you have a longer tail game, you know, there's less of this scrambling, less of this entertainment, less people are more solidified with their alliances, and there's way less like surprises at tribal, you know, for whether you like that or not, I guess. But like this merged tribe, they haven't been together long enough. So I guess if you're coming from Probe standpoint, like, I like these people whispering and going around and whatever. And I guess the rule is that Jeff's saying is that we don't vote until everyone here says it's time to vote, or I'm ready to vote.
I just hate the fact that they can leave their stump more than anything. Like it bothers me. Tribal council is supposed to be, and it always has been, a place where you air it out publicly. You know, that's the whole point of it. It's supposed to be strategic.
I just think no whispering. There should be no whispering.
You shouldn't. Well, you can't whisper if you can't leave your stump.
Yeah,
you know?
well, you can whisper to the next person.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm fine with that. But you should not be able to leave. You should not be able to get up.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a whole other thing. You know, like that's
I think you have to write a letter. You have to hit him. He won't see your tweet though.
I don't care. You know, like it should be. He should. The fans are over this. I think truly. I think most people that watch Survivor are just tired of this. They're tired of the whispering. I don't think they like it. Like, ooh, like do people get this like feeling like, oh, it's live? You know, like, is that what happens? Or is
I think
like,
there's got to be there's a certain percentage of the viewers who I think do. I think that they go, oh, this is kind of interesting. This is fun, right? It's not like, you know, if you've been watching Survivor for 20 years, like we have, like, you know, maybe you want to see more of these kinds of things. You don't want to just, I don't know, everyone kind of says they're going to do one thing, and then Jeff says it's time to vote. He goes, tallies the vote, and who we thought was getting a vote didn't. And it's actually this guy or this lady. And then, and I think they still have that aspect to it. When he reads the votes, you don't quite know what's going to happen, but it's also it's not just like this formulaic misdirect that they've been doing for so long either.
I don't think they split the vote, Dave, tonight. Like, I don't think they split the vote.
Correct.
And I think what happens here is Evie, they put the votes on Evie. If they never were able to get up, they played the idol. I think Tiffany might have played it in that instance. I think they switched because of what happened. And I think that idol gets played on Evie, and then Deshaun goes home. And I think that could have been really exciting. And I think because of this format that Probst allows, the audience loses out. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, so the vote was 5 to 4 to 3, right?
Right, but they split their vote. Like, Deshaun got up and changed the minds of everybody. They all were going to vote for Sid. It was like Sid, right? And then Tiffany knew it. Tiffany was going to go play the idol on Sid, and we would have seen Deshaun go home. And that's not what happened.
If Sydney had played her extra vote on, did Sydney have an extra vote?
No, she did her role, and that's
If Xander had played his extra vote on Deshaun, then it would have been a tie.
That's after they decided to split the vote.
But if they had a tie, then they would have to re-vote.
Also,
are you surprised they put so many votes on Evie, considering that like it was presumably they were going to play the immunity idol on her? It was kind of like
they made sure to make sure there was one extra vote on Sid. You know, like that was.
But they could have like
Sid was a mistake.
They could have like, oh, actually, we're going to throw all our votes on Tiffany.
I think Sydney was a mistake. I think they wanted to vote out Evie, and I think Nasir might have messed up. And
they couldn't have voted for Tiffany.
Nasir voted for who? Nasir voted for Sydney.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to vote for Evie.
So he might have switched and screwed it over, which great, you know.
Because didn't someone say to him that like Sydney's gunning for you, Nasir?
No, they said they're gunning for you.
Oh, Deshaun is like Deshaun's gunning for you, Nasir.
Right. Yeah.
They, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun to kind of break this all down. Like I think, you know, just because like it could have gone so many different ways. It wasn't so predictable, and I think like that's sometimes what I have been bored with in past Survivor seasons is just the predictability. This wasn't predictable.
Okay.
So much.
Well, to do a little cleanup. concerning Nicaragua. They did get a Ponderosa. I think this is the reason why Jeff was angry, not just because they quit, was the way they presented the Ponderosa for Nyonka and Kelly is that the doctor sees them right after they get voted out. And the doctor says, and I quote, their bodies are physically quite capable of keeping on going, but they just don't want to be in it anymore. Right? That's what the doctor says straight to the camera.
He's like, there's nothing wrong with them. They can go. They're just babies.
So in their Ponderosa, they actually had them getting wads of cash to go shopping and buy food. Right? And they seem like two different people. Like they were so excited and happy. It's hilarious.
I think we should show the quit. I mean, I'm not. Are we really worried about copyright?
We'll get striked. We'll get striked.
But why? Why can other people show other things? Can we now critique it?
I don't know. I just know it comes up sometimes.
Fight it, Dave. Damn the man.
It's good. Then I gotta get the strike. It's like I don't know who will strike us.
But like I don't understand. Like, what does that strike do? Is that for money? Is that for making money?
It's more just like they'll make us cut it out of the episode, so it will make or mute it at least in that part of the...
Should we? My question here is: should we? We obviously have I'm Rick. We have a question here. Should we play it for I'm Rick?
Well, I don't know. Woo! Deshaun wouldn't have gone home. The problem is that when they asked Xander if he had an idol and he said no, they would have still split the vote because they would have known something was afoot. Does he have a second comment?
I don't think they would have though, because they all switched their vote to Sid. Yeah, and I do think that's a huge problem. I'm Rick.
What's the problem?
The problem is they shouldn't be able to get up and off their stump. Like tribal council is supposed to be where you open. It's an open dialogue to air out your grievances. That's how I feel about the tribal council. I think they've ruined it ever since the JT tribal where he got up, and it was good the first time. I really liked it when it happened the first time, but ever since then it's been awful. I honestly think that.
Yeah. It makes me squirm. I can't even watch it. I'm just like, no.
Once again, if I could see it uncut and they have microphones all over the area so I can hear everything, I'll be fine with it because I need to know the inner workings of what's going on, right? And the way that it's cut, I'm only presented with a little bit of information, and then I'm like, I feel like this pure experience is now being modified in a way that could possibly trick me, and that's not cool. I don't want to be tricked, right? I want to be presented with all the information.
See, I agree with you, but I also come from the part. I have no problem with them talking at tribal council. I have a problem with them getting up and whispering in each other's ears. I don't like that.
And going into two sides and then having little huddles. And
yeah, I don't like it. I think tribal council and good TV would be if it's an open dialogue. It's supposed to be like the court, and it's not supposed to be litigation in the back rooms. Like that's the whole point of tribal. That's why
they should be scrambling on the beach. Scramble on the beach. Yeah. Make your plans ahead of time. If like. So you're telling me we would have lost out on Keith Nail going stick with the plan and having that whole backfire, right? If he could have just hold on a second.
Hold on, let's go talk about this.
What's the plan? Okay, yeah, we're gonna stick with it. Okay, cool, and then come back. No,
I would rather see that. Yeah, I would rather see what's the plan? I thought the plan was this.
Yeah,
and then there's plausible deniability,
and have to cryptically talk and talking codes and stuff would be way better. I think that, and that's that's the next evolution of the game would be like, we're doing Project Banana or whatever. And like, okay, all right, it's papaya or it's banana. Okay. We're doing banana, and they have to talk in code. That would make more sense to me than have to do what they're doing here at tribal, where they just kind of, I just don't like it. I just think it's bad TV. I want good TV. I want good moments in the tribal. And, I see like the argument against this. And what I'm saying is that Probst, I think, thinks that without the whispering, we're not going to get the true separation. It's going to be more Big Brotherish, where it's more fake and it's more like, no, I'm in your alliance. No, you're crazy, you know. And it's this actually shows you, like you saw tonight, where the two huddles occur. Well, that's your two sides of the tribe. You know,
I want more subtlety, I guess. I want less of this like sort of overt play, you know, and like I have an idol and I'm gonna play it tonight, Jeff. And then
Red
Leanna's
alarm.
red alarm, and then Leanna, like I also have this advantage everyone knows about, and I must declare. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, why do you have to like grandstand about this? And like, even when earlier when Xander, I guess it was all part of the ruse, you know. But like, I'm like, the fact that Leanna and them fell for this is like,
it shows you how bad of players they are.
Yeah,
and, you know, and it goes to show you like they're making Shan seem like this amazing player, and she's not. You know, she's just playing with worse players.
Leanna's smart. I think Leanna is Shan's more savvy than Leanna. It seems like.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Leanna wouldn't be in the situation that she was in if Shan didn't open her mouth in front of Tiffany.
Right. True. True. So that shows like where Shan is an uncontrolled player, even though she has some strengths, I think, and some ability to navigate this. Like I think overall she's too impulsive.
She's also she's also doesn't deal well when she's not in control, and it's going to come up in this season where she's not going to be in control of a vote, and she's going to lose her mind.
Yeah,
she's a bully. She's a bully of a player, and when everything's going her way right now, but when it doesn't, and it's not going to at a certain point, I can't wait to watch that episode.
And so I go to my song in my head.
And you know when you're gonna hear that song? You're gonna hear that song when her torch gets snuffed out, and when she's walking away, they're gonna play it in the background. Do, 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 do.
How the heck did that just happen?
As they end the episode, that's how they're gonna end that episode. That will be the final thing that you see of her as she walks to her confessional, her final confessional. She's on her way out, and you hear the music playing in the background.
It kind of reminds me of the Squid Game music.
Do, 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 do. Yeah, that was in her head, I guess. Actually, it couldn't be. It wasn't out yet because they filmed this back in like May, I think. But guys, next week's episode is called Betraydar. What do you think that's about?
That's Shan. That's Shan, or no? It might be Ricard saying that.
Yeah, there's going to be huge stakes.
Huge stakes.
Not Outback Steakhouse.
Yes.
A pineapple margarita.
Yeah. Okay.
All the fixins.
All the fixins, of course. Yeah, baked potato.
Baked potato. All the fixins.
I can smell it.
Wood, fire grilled.
Oh.
Outback steak. Plus the brand new Outback Steakhouse Margarita, the grilled pineapple Rita. Huge steaks.
Huge steaks.
Huge steaks down there, guys. But the preview next week, I think it was Leanna who says this. Tell me if this is not Leanna.
Everybody's just nuts. It's a hot, steaming mess.
Is that Leanna who said that?
Everybody's just nuts. It's a hot, steaming mess.
No, that sounds like Shan.
That sounds like Shan.
Oh, that was Shan. Okay, I gotta rename that clip. I couldn't remember whose confessional that was. And then, but yeah, that's what we're in store for Betraydar, a hot, steaming mess. And then we also, I just like do you know I don't know what the plan is. And Tiffany going nuts, and then Danny at the very end going, I think it could be you.
I do not know what the plan is. You think it's me?
It could be.
It could be.
It could be.
Could be you. I don't know. I didn't think Danny and Tiffany would be chatted here at the very end of this clip.
If I was any player in that game, I would just tell Tiffany it's you, or it could be you, or I would just she's like a top. You start her spinning.
Freak out.
Yeah.
I would just always let her be freaking out, and then everyone will get mad at you, say, "Why are you making her freak out all the time?"
I know.
Like it's annoying.
And I don't know who's gonna freak out more when they find out their names under the bus, Shan or Tiffany, but it's gonna be bad either way. You know what I mean?
Shan will react worse.
Yeah, she'll. Oh yeah,
she's used to being in control. Tiffany's never really been in control.
No, and she, you know what? we could talk a little bit about Tiffany here. Like, you're saying like Jaemeel was saying, she's not a loyal player, she's erratic, and she is all those things. But she did the one thing tonight that Dave would give props for. She went with the minority alliance. Like, she could have easily flipped to the majority people here and told them the plan, and she could have really thrown Evie and Xander under the bus here, and she didn't. I
think she's not the worst possible player ever. She's like, I think she knows she only has had this particular group, and we saw that the Yasi tribe did have some bonding, like they had formed some sort of a relationship. But it was once Leanna was like, "No, hi Shan, see you later, Yasi." I think Tiffany was just like, "I'm stuck. I have to try to. I have to stick with Evie and Xander."
Do you think Evie somewhat regrets? Like what was brought up tonight at Tribal, where Deshaun threw her under the bus and was like, "Oh, really, Xander? Because she told me all about your idol." And that was Evie playing too hard early on. Did she? Was her whole strategy of girls over boys a mistake?
Yes, yeah, I think that just this idea that she had to, that I think that she was not so loyal or didn't keep her options open. I think that's really the thing with Evie. I think is that she's like, well, I don't want to be that kind of player. I don't want to be the one who's stuck with that alpha male type, and then I get screwed in an immunity challenge down the road. That was what she was thinking, a little too hard, a little too down the things. Nothing about like, hey, this tribe has to win, has to be strong going into this merge, which it's not. It's stronger than green, but in some ways, Rickard and Shan are at advantage because they're the only like kind of savvy players left from that group, right. and they're able to kind of just nestle in with the rest nicely, mostly because of Shan and Leanna.
On the vote where they voted at Vochi, she should have voted at Leanna. And she was her tightest.
It could have been Tiffany. No, it was supposed to be Tiffany.
It was supposed. But Tiffany proved to be a loyal player to her. And Liana proved to be a betrayer. So it should have been Liana, and that shows again that Evie hadn't figured that out yet. That this girl would potentially betray her in the future, and it's hard to determine that. But at the same time, these things are important. This is what you need to read early in the game. Who's going to stick with me actually, and who's going to leave at the moment's notice?
Right. Well, they started kicking ass once they had Tiffany.
The tribe is doing so well because I'm kicking some ass. I mean,
like,
would you not laugh if she doesn't give back the immunity idol?
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I don't think so. Sorry, Xander. I think I'll hold on to it. You can't be trusted with it.
And then Sham looks at Ricard and just goes like this.
No, Shan goes up to Tiffany and goes, "You said you would give that to me." Oh, really? Oh, crap. Okay, here you go, Shan. and then she like takes the idol and she goes, ah! Yeah. She has the yellow stone, the green stone. She needs the Sears blue stone. That's the next thing.
She needs a Sear stone. It comes after Nasir.
Yasi.
Yasa has been a disaster in challenges this entire season.
It's like previously on Survivor. Yasa suffered a devastating series of losses.
Yasa has been a disaster in challenges this entire season.
But with the core remaining 4, they were on a winning streak.
There it is! Yasa wins reward!
Unstoppable. Challenge after challenge.
And since Tiffany is completely motivated by food, clearly.
She needs to do another one. Sorry. They need to do another one of those intros. Next episode would be perfect if Evie was to do it again.
Yeah, it was kind of. I think that could be like her thing. Like, this is what Probst is saying next to us on in the recap when we get to that.
She's kind of doing though, like the Big Brother, like previously on Big Brother. Like she's kind of doing that guy for Survivor.
Yeah, well, she's probably a fan of both, maybe. But hello, Devin.
Saloosh, Devin. Do you have a daughter?
You think he's from Big Brother 15 or 16? It'll be 16, right?
Yeah, I'm just, it's like we need to vote out Devin. Like Pow, you suck at everything, straight up.
I know.
I put that a beginning of that on the other night for Jane because it's like the super edited version of Big Brother 16, right? And it's just like the first 5 in the house was included Cody and Nicole Franzel, and I was just like, oh my god, no.
But it also featured Joey
Pow Pow, and Donnie Thompson were all there too. But yeah.
What was it? Josiah in that season too?
Who?
Josiah.
Was she?
Josiah.
I think. Was she?
No,
Jose?
the guy. Jose. Yeah.
Oh, Jose.
Jose, maybe, yeah, but it didn't last very long if they did.
I know Zach Rance to me was the best TV character on that show since Dr. Will. Like he was fantastic.
He's like a nutcase. Like
I know that's what I want on Big Brother. I want nutcases.
Well, that's what I want on Survivor. Like that's why I'm kind of sad to see Sydney go, because at least like she's not a good big Survivor player, but like she's fun for the entertainment factor.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree with you, Dave. Like as much as she's an egotistic person, and like I see, why
I don't need to think she's a great person or like anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. I need to be entertained by her. Heather, she might be the best person, the most noble, virtuous person, but I don't care.
Shan is a great
Heather
TV character.
Heather immunity run.
Like
immunity run, and then she's dark horse winner here. Like
Shan is so great. Like she's just not rootable, but she's a great.
She's like a villain. Shan's like this villain player for me.
Yeah, she's a great.
She will probably come back for heroes versus villains.
I think like you can look at it from either side, I think, but I think just the way she plays and the fact, especially with the JD move, I think that taking this thing and then voting him out, even the Genie one too, even the Genie vote out
was very Russell Hantz. She's more like Vanessa Russo, but if you're gonna do a Survivor comparison, it's very Russell Hantz what she's done, how she plays.
Yeah, and Russell Hantz is fighting with the Survivor community like on Twitter constantly, right?
Oh,
he's like,
what?
He's just everything. Too woke.
Too woke. He didn't like the Jeff taking out the come on in guys or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I don't.
That's where that broke Russell Hantz. He couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I think it's not worth breaking over, but I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's unnecessary.
Well, I don't know if I need to make it my cause. If Jeff doesn't want to say it, he doesn't have to say it. But
true. But you don't need to ask the cast, and then when everyone says no, and then Ricard is the one guy, you kind of okay.
There was like some tweet where Rickard was, I don't know, he was throwing shade at it, but like it's not my favorite moment in the history of the show.
It's just unnecessary. If you didn't want to say it, stop saying it.
Any more questions or comments? Let us know. But otherwise, I think we could probably close the books on this episode. There will be blood. Was there blood?
There was
a lot of people bled.
They all bled.
A lot of people who felt they were untouchable bled tonight. So
yeah. Well, okay.
Deshaun bled.
There was only 5 potential people who could bleed tonight.
Yeah, and they got rid of Sydney.
Yeah, but ultimately. I think both like Xander is in a better position. Evie, is she in a better position? I don't think so. No. Flat out, people cannot trust Tiffany. Even if you weren't exposed to Tiffany beforehand, why would you trust Tiffany at all?
No,
I don't see Leanna trusting her.
But I don't know if they'll prioritize getting Tiffany out before others.
I think Tiffany made a completely reasonable decision based on the fact that I don't think Leanna was ever trusting her long term, and she knew that. Tiffany just is obvious about it. I was very impressed with her in this episode. I couldn't believe that she was able to hold her tongue.
Maybe she didn't, and they just edited it out.
Maybe. Okay, well, we're gonna sign off for tonight, I think. Also, make sure to check out all of our content here on Super Mario Brothers podcasting. Of course, we're covering this season of Survivor. We did earlier this year, Big Brother season 23. We also did Big Brother Canada 9. We've also talked about other Survivor seasons. Jeff and I did a couple podcasts with Josh Foster. We talked about different seasons, just one-offs. Check that out in our library. And we also cover Marvel Cinematic Universe podcasts, including WandaVision and different content. I am planning to see Eternals, the movie Eternals, this Friday night in IMAX, and I will do a podcast this weekend, one way or the other. Whoever wants to be part of it, maybe, but I think I'm at least going to do that with Davin. Davin Skelhorn, our Jeff and I's second cousin,
or Jeff the second.
Or Jeff the second, who was impersonating Jeff last night over on our Star Trek podcast, which is a good segue. Check out our Star Trek channel called Live Long and Podcast, where we talk about Star Trek multi times a week. If you're a fan of that, Monday nights we talk about Star Trek: The Original Series. We've been covering all 79 episodes. We only got 2 left to go. Check out the next one this next Monday night, where we talk about The Cage, which is the original pilot from 1965. That's like the one without Kirk. And then on Tuesday nights we talk about Star Trek: Deep Space Nine. Last night talked about Bar Association. That's all about the Union. He was a Union man, that Sean Aloysius O'Brien. And next week we're going to be talking, Jeff. We're going to be talking about a session next week, which is the episode where the false emissary comes back, or the other emissary, and then Sisko decides he's the emissary. Check that out. And then on Thursdays, we starting last week, we were talking about Star Trek Prodigy, which is the new animated show on Nickelodeon for Star Trek, which I'm covering that with Davin Skellhorn and Jessica Chan. And in just 2 weeks' time, starting November 18th, we're going to be covering also Star Trek Discovery Season 4. I'll be doing that with Adam Woodward and Michael Chan. And coming up on November 27th will be sorry, I was just like, what month is this? November. On November 27th, we're going to be doing Star Trek Radio Theater. We'll be doing which we've been on hiatus for a while, but that's where we do reenactments of the Star Trek episodes, reading the script, and we're going to be doing that one on the Saturday the 27th. We're doing the Lower Decks episode, Where's Douche? So check out all that. Plus our third channel, which is called Trivial Debates. It's a monthly game show where we argue about movie, TV, sports, and more. We just did one this past Sunday for the Halloween themed episode, which included myself as hosting. We had Adam Woodward, we had Rajesh Cuddy, and we also had Davin Skellhorn, who I've mentioned a few times already. He's from Locutors of Trek, which is his own Star Trek podcast. You should check that out. It's if you like that kind of stuff. And lastly, my son's podcast, Let's Talk About Fighting Games, where you can find on Spotify or wherever you get your audio podcasts. And with that, I think we can close the book. Oh, and there's going to be blood. And you guys have a request to take us away for the evening? I think we just need that clip. We need that. Do you have the idol? We need the clip with Leanne and Xander. I think that's the ultimate thing to go on. Okay, have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you on the flip side.
So I just have one question for one player. Do you have an idol, Xander?
No, but you can have this fake.
Boy.
Love the sigh. It's my favorite part.